You're seated on a hard, cold chair, a thick black bag over your head and tape over your mouth, making it impossible for you to speak. You're tightly bound to the chair, unable to wriggle or struggle. Everything's silent now, apart from the sound of you breathing. Your breaths are loud in your head as your heart races, adrenaline pumping through your veins. You stop struggling, listening intently to the men that are talking around you, their voices low, like they're muttering amongst themselves. You can't see anything, but you're straining your ears, trying to differentiate their words. You had been walking alone back to your apartment when out of nowhere, a van pulled up beside you. Before you could even fully register what was happening, the back doors were flung open, and a group of men jumped out. They grabbed you with surprising strength and pushed you inside the van. You tried to scream, but no sounds came out as they taped your mouth shut. You're terrified, all the worst scenarios playing out in your head. Your heart is thumping wildly in your chest, and your breath quickens into panicked, shallow gasps. You can't see what's going on, and being bound to this chair leaves you completely helpless. All you can do is listen and wait. You hear a creak as the door opens and footsteps enter the room. A deep, authoritative voice rings through the room, addressing the group who took you. "Good job, boys. Did anyone see you?" The room is silent. You feel a shiver run down your spine at the power in his voice. His voice is stern as he snaps, "Did you triple check that she wasn't being followed?" There's a moment of hesitation before one of the men responds. "Yes, we checked, sir. She was alone." He doesn't skip a beat, his tone still firm. "Okay, what about her phone? Any tracker?" Another man speaks up, his voice nervous. "We checked, sir. Wiped the phone clean. No tracker." He falls silent for a moment, and you feel his gaze shift towards you. You hear his footsteps coming closer, his irritation clear in his voice. "Really?" he says, exasperated. "Was she like this the whole time?" He stands in front of you and you hear the click of a lighter, the scent of smoke filling the room as he lights his cigarette. With a frustrated sigh, he addresses one of the men. "Damn it, get that damn bag off her head." One of the men hurriedly comes forward and roughly yanks off the bag. Light floods your vision, and you blink, your eyes trying to adjust to the sudden brightness. He strides up to you, his eyes narrowing as he looks you over. It takes a moment for him to realize you're not who they were after. And he explodes in anger. "What the hell?" he thunders, glaring at his men. "Who is this? She isn't the damn girl I told you to kidnap." The silence in the room is palpable. All eyes are on you as the men shift nervously under their boss' gaze. One of the men speaks up, his voice shaky. "We just saw her walking alone, sir." "She was alone, we thought." The boss cuts him off with a sharp glare. "Shut your damn mouth, you idiots. Do you have any idea whose daughter you kidnapped instead?" He's furious, his voice booming. "I gave you one damn order. One, and this," he gestures at you, his face twisted in anger. "This is what I get?" He rubs his forehead in frustration, the stress of the situation getting to him. His gaze lands on you, taking in the sight of you bound and gagged. His expression softens momentarily as he sees your fear. "Look at her, she's terrified. Get that damn tape off her mouth," he commands, irritation still lacing his tone. One of the men quickly steps forward and cautiously peels the tape off your mouth. He watches as they carefully remove the tape and lets out a deep sigh. "Careful. Gosh, what have you done?" he groans, rubbing his forehead again. He stands there for a moment, taking in the mess his men made. You can see the anger and frustration on his face, mixed with a hint of worry. The tape is ripped off, and you inhale deeply, relishing the feeling of air filling your lungs again. It's a small relief in this terrifying situation. The boss steps closer, his eyes roaming over you again, assessing your state. "Are you okay?" he asks, his voice softer than it was earlier. He sees the fear in your eyes, and his expression turns from irritation to concern. He crouches down to your level, his voice quieter now. "Hey, I'm not gonna hurt you," he says softly, his eyes studying you. "We just need to talk." "Okay." As you go to scream, he quickly lunges forward and covers your mouth with his hand, silencing you. He hisses, "Don't make a sound." There's a warning in his voice, and his grip on you is firm, trying to keep you from panicking. He leans in closer, his hand still firmly over your mouth, and whispers, "Shh, I'm not here to hurt you." His voice is surprisingly gentle. The anger and power that was present before is gone. He's trying to calm you, trying to get you to trust him. He loosens his grip on your mouth and looks at you, his expression serious. "Are you going to be quiet and cooperate, or do I have to put that tape over your mouth again?" He's waiting for your response, his eyes searching your face. He's hoping that you'll listen to him and won't give him a reason to use that tape again. He slowly removes his hand from your mouth, satisfied that you'll cooperate. "Good girl," he praises, his voice low. He stands up, his eyes still on you. "Now, we need to talk." He pulls up a nearby stool and positions it in front of you, facing you. He takes a seat, his eyes on you, studying you carefully. He leans back, crossing his legs, and rests his arms on the edge of the stool. "Let's talk." The room is quiet for a moment. The only sound is that of your breathing. He keeps his gaze on you, his eyes intense, as if he's trying to figure you out. "I want to ask you some questions, and you're going to answer them honestly. Understand?" He lets out a small sigh, clearly satisfied with your compliance. "Good," he responds, his voice firm but not unkind. "Now, first I need to ask you something. Can you tell me your name?" He leans in slightly, listening intently to your soft whisper. "Alice," he repeats, his gaze still fixed on you. "Pretty name," he comments, a small smirk tugging at the corner of his mouth. "Now, Alice, I have another question. How old are you?" He raises an eyebrow, surprised at your answer. 23, he says, a hint of disbelief in his voice. "Damn." He looks at you more closely now, as if he's reassessing you in his mind. "I thought you were much younger," he murmurs to himself. He studies you more intently, noting your appearance and demeanor. You can almost see the gears turning in his head, trying to piece things together. After a moment, he speaks again, his voice still firm but with an edge of curiosity. "And what do you do for a living, Alice?" His eyebrows furrow and he cocks his head to the side, clearly intrigued by your answer. "A teacher, huh?" He leans back a little, his gaze never leaving you. "What do you teach, sweetheart?" His expression softens and a hint of attraction sparks in his eyes. He seems intrigued by you, a hint of a smirk playing at the corner of his lips. "Elementary," he repeats, his voice low and thoughtful. "That's sweet." He studies you for a moment longer before speaking again. "You must have a lot of patience. I hear kids can be little terrors." He chuckles softly, his demeanor becoming more relaxed. "Honestly," he says, his voice taking on a lighter tone, "not too different from my men. Whiny, impulsive, and constantly making messes I have to clean up." He shakes his head slightly, a small smirk playing at the corner of his mouth. "Kids and grown-ups aren't so different, it seems." He lets out a deep sigh, his expression hardening once again. "This," he says, his hand making a vague gesture towards you, "wasn't supposed to happen." He pauses, his eyes flickering briefly to his men who are awkwardly stood off to the side, before returning to your face. His voice takes on a dark edge as he continues. "They were supposed to kidnap someone else, someone more important, someone who actually deserved to be kidnapped and even killed." He rubs his forehead, exasperated. "You ever assign a simple goddamn task and they still manage to screw it up," he says with a frustrated sigh. "Yeah, welcome to my world." He then runs a hand through his hair, clearly fed up with the situation. He takes a moment to compose himself and turns his attention back to you, his expression now more unreadable. "What am I going to do with you?" He repeats, contemplating your question. He stands up from the stool and slowly walks towards you, his footsteps echoing in the otherwise silent room. He stands in front of you, towering over your bound form. To be honest, I haven't decided yet, he says, his voice low and calculating. Right now you're a wild card, sweetheart, he murmurs, studying you intently. I need to consider my options. He steps even closer to you, his hand coming up to touch your chin, tilting it upwards so he can see your face more clearly. I have a couple of choices, he continues, his thumb lightly stroking your jawline, and I need to figure out which one is the best. He pauses, his gaze drifting down to your lips. A smirk tugged at the corner of his mouth, as he noticed how your pulse quickened under his touch. I could let you go, he whispers, his thumb still gently stroking your jawline, but something tells me you'd run straight to the cops the second I untie you. He moves his hand from your chin to gently trace a finger along your collarbone, the touch sending a shiver down your spine. He slowly circles around you, his eyes never leaving your face. I could kill you, he says, his voice almost nonchalant, as if he was discussing the weather. He continues to walk around you, his footsteps echoing softly in the room. But then again, that seems like a waste. He stops behind you, his hand resting on the back of the chair. You can feel his breath on your neck. Leans in closer, his body nearly pressed against you from behind as he looks down at you. His gaze locks onto your eyes, the intensity of his stare almost overwhelming. He pauses, his eyes drifting down to your lips, or, he whispers, his voice low, I could keep you. He straightens up, his gaze drifting over to his men. Cut her loose, he orders, and take her back to my house. Make sure she's fed and well taken care of. His voice takes on a deadly tone as he continues. If anyone as much as hurts a hair on her head, I will kill them myself. Understood? The men all nod hastily, their eyes wide with fear. They knew better than to disobey a direct order from their boss. He turns and starts to walk away, his steps confident and measured. She's not a prisoner, he says, his voice carrying through the room. She's my guest now. He glances over his shoulder at his men, his gaze sharp. The rest of you, hurry. We still have a person to kidnap. He shoots one last glance in your direction, a small smile playing at the corner of his mouth. Behave yourself, sweetheart, he murmurs, his voice soft yet firm. With that, he places his hands into his pockets and strides out the room,